Honestly, I don't like this song. So let's see what else they have. I have a few things I want to talk about, but this is going to be light and airy. You know, I want us to have a good time. So let's see. Let's see what else they have here.
Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out.
Sorry about the ad, y'all. I don't think I like this song. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if anyone's alive because it's y'all here? Hey Elizabeth, hey Carnisha, hey Not I said the cat. Hold on. Let me do that. I know it's like a weird time of the day. I know it's a weird time of the day. Hey, Chaz. Happy 4th of July to y'all. I don't know if you can hear me over the music. Maybe I should turn the music off. I don't know. I'm just trying something different. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off. This is supposed to be... Okay, I don't know if y'all can hear me with the music on, but this is supposed to be royalty-free music. So I'm just testing it to see how it works and to see if you all can hear me. I hope you all are enjoying your holiday. I just want to talk about a few things, but in a way that's relaxed. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm doing tonight. I know it's an awkward time of the day. If you're on the East Coast with me, it's after midnight. Okay, thank you, Carnisha. Thanks for letting me know that you can hear me. Listen, one thing that I'm enjoying right now is the fact that Black women across the various YouTube spaces that we're in seem to finally be understanding that there is no negotiation with terrorists, okay? And when it comes to these guys on social media, I don't care what anyone says, but terrorists. Hold on. Okay? I don't care what anyone says. These guys are terrorists. When you think about the ways that they treat Black women, and you think about the ways that they respond to the issues that we face, they're terrorists when it comes to Black women and girls. The only thing that bothers me, and this is just a moment of candor, the thing that bothers me and the thing that I hope that changes in the future is I hope that as Black women, we will respect and trust each other enough so that if a Black woman has experienced a certain thing and she says, hey sis, I've been through this, or I have observed other Black women who have been through this, don't walk this road. I hope that we'll learn how to trust each other enough to understand that we should give some weight to what that Black woman is saying. Because when I'm observing, and I'm observing this not just for myself, but as someone who has been a viewer of content for years, is that a lot of times as Black women, and it's just frustrating because I've seen it over and over again. But a lot of times as Black women, we will see another Black woman go through something, or, we'll hear about her experience. But we will weigh the opinions of Black men as being more important than those Black women's experiences. And it's almost like we don't take certain things seriously until we see until it's like you got to go through it yourself. When another Black woman tells certain Black women that, hey, this has not worked before, be careful, be cautious, whatever, it's viewed as shade, it's viewed as disrespect. Even if that Black woman has never disrespected you. The default setting in most Black women's minds is to trust and believe Black men ahead of Black women. And it's like, I can't, like, I'm frustrated, but I can't imagine the frustration of the Black women who have observed this for years. And so it's July 4th, it's Independence Day. A lot of Black women worked very hard so that many people could observe and celebrate this day. So we should walk in and celebrate freedom and independence as U.S. citizens, and specifically as Black women. And hopefully we get to this space. Right? Where And I'm not saying like you have to like assume that your experience is going to be the same just because another Black woman has experienced it, but hopefully you'll take some things into consideration. Because I'm seeing it across various sectors of Black YouTube, where more and more Black women are finally realizing, oh my goodness, I have tried to give different Black men a chance, and damn, they stabbed me in the back. And thus, I'm sorry that you went through the experience, but I'm glad that you understand it. But the problem comes in where if you look at the longevity of certain platforms, think about how many Black women have been led to certain spaces because different Black women have encouraged those other Black women to go to these spaces. And so all I'm saying is I hope that at some point in the future, whether it's 20 years from now, 100 years from now, as Black women, we will respect and trust each other enough to say, okay, it's a bunch of different Black women telling me, sis, be careful. These people don't trust you. They don't care about you. They're using you for content. They're using you for views. Hopefully we'll get to this space where we'll trust each other as Black women enough to where you don't have to go through it yourself to understand what's going on, especially when, you know, these niggas were on YouTube saying, yes, they use Black women for content and views. Yes, they exploit what they call Black female fuckery because it's what their audience wants and it makes money for them and it helps them pay their bills. And that was supported to the point where you support that at the expense of your relationships with other Black women. You know? Like, because and I have to say this, and maybe it sounds petty, maybe it sounds problematic, but it's Independence Day. We're celebrating our freedom. So I don't care how people who never really supported me in the first place feel about what I'm saying. When it was not popular years ago for Black women to have these messages, there were Black women saying the things that I'm saying now. And when it wasn't popular a few months ago to say this, do you understand? A few months ago, before the spring equinox, it was not popular to be on here and say, like, be careful about certain Black men and certain Black women who support them. Be careful about their intentions. Understand that they only want you in these spaces because their audiences want to see arguments between Black women and Black men. Be careful, Black women, particularly if you're divested or if you're a Black woman. Say you don't fly under the divestment label, but you don't appreciate what these men are saying, and you are supportive of Black women making the best choices for ourselves. Be careful about going onto these platforms. Do you understand that the default setting for Black women is to support Black men at the expense of other Black women, at the expense of your relationships, your friendships with other Black women, even when it means that other Black women will follow certain people to certain platforms because they trust those Black women. And it's like, as Black women, we are so conditioned to support Black men that a Black man, when it comes to social media, he can make certain social media content about us as individual Black women, and we're supportive of those Black men and we're forgiving of those Black men. But if another Black woman, right, comes along and says, be careful, don't trust these people, it's easy to throw that Black woman under the bus until you get kicked in the ass yourself. And I'm not just talking to Black women who are supportive of divestment talking points. I'm talking to Black women who don't follow a certain label. I'm talking to Black women who follow the pro-Black label. And I'm talking to some of y'all who are saying that you're divested. How many times over the years do we have to see Black women go through this? And see, I understand that for Black women who aren't divested or who don't support BWE, you don't understand what I'm talking about right now. But those of us who are divested, who support BWE, the difference between us and other Black women is that we see ourselves in other Black women. We see the hurt, the pain, all the shit that we've been through in other Black women. So we understand, wow, it must hurt to feel like you have supported men who will turn on you. But the difference between us and other groups of Black women is while we express our opinions on our individual channels, we've never been on these men's channels disrespecting other Black women. We've never made content on our own channels to try to hurt other Black women's brands. When these Black women thought that they would be accepted by Black men, they had no problem turning on other Black women. See, this channel and other channels keep these motherfuckers honest, okay? We're like the Tea Party for the Republicans and the Green Party for the Democrats. People who are purists keep the mainstream honest. So because you have channels like this one, and it's not just this one, but it's other women with platforms who are actually monetizing. I'm not naming them, even though I speak to them personally, because I understand that once you're monetized, you have a brand. There are other women with platforms who are monetized who have said the very same things that I'm saying today, but it wasn't popular for them to say it. And there are congressional hearings going on Capitol Hill about Google algorithms and the channels that they promote. And I understand that those of us with channels who are divestment purists are probably not being promoted by YouTube. But we've been saying for quite some time to be careful and to not trust men who have made it very clear that they make money off of Black female fuckery. They make it very clear that this is entertainment for them, and they use Black women in certain spaces to make their points for them. And when we were having those conversations, it was viewed as negative. We're hating on people. You know, I see people when they're talking. Oh, we're not welcoming to people. No, we're explaining to you what happens in certain situations, and we're letting you know, just because niggas have conversations with you doesn't mean that they agree with you, and it doesn't mean that they support you. And I see Black women in various different sectors of YouTube saying, oh, I get it now. But not willing to acknowledge that when they thought they had Black male support, they were willing to throw certain Black women under the bus. Certain Black women were expendable. Right? We were expendable, we were too radical, we were extreme. And now you hear you hear those same people saying the same things that this platform and certain others were saying when it wasn't popular to say it. So one of the conversations that we'll have to have, and it's an ongoing conversation, is why Black women have the default setting to trust Black men before they trust other Black women. Why you have to be in these situations over and over and over and over and over again over the years, where you don't understand Black men's treachery as a collective until you get bit in the ass. You know, as Black women in general, we have to understand something. Just because people will have a conversation with you, it doesn't mean they like you. It doesn't mean they trust you. It doesn't mean they value you. And when these men are openly saying, yes, this is entertainment. Yes, they make money off of what they call Black female fuckery. Like, how do you listen to that and think it's cool and think it's funny and think it's conversation? But when a Black woman asks a genuine question, the energy is not the same. You have Black women in certain spaces who thought it was cool to make fun of women like Ami McClure, because they felt like Ami's husband didn't feel a certain way towards the Black collective. And it's like, okay, but when it comes to the way he treated his Black wife and the way he values her, he's a wonderful man to her and all of their children. And Black women will take those arguments on, but when it comes to these niggas and their non-Black women, they'll never say, well, their non-Black women feel no allegiance to the entire collective of Black people, specifically when it comes to the Black women and the children. Those niggas will be in relationships with non-Black women who hate Black women, right? But you have all of these rules and requirements when it comes to a Black woman who's in a relationship with a non-Black man. You have more requirements for that woman's relationship than for the relationship that you're in with Tyrone and his multiple baby mamas and his felonies. I'm fed up with this shit, y'all, because, hey, one-sided, Hold on, baby doll. Let me make you a mod here. But it creates a problem for me because it's like, oh, once these women pro-black or whatever they call themselves, once they personally experience things, then they get it. And everyone's supposed to fall in line and be on board. But if you've been on social media for a minute, you understand that some of these very same women were very negative towards the black women in these spaces who have brands. And these people can say, oh, it's just our opinions and blah, 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 all they want. But when people have actual brands where they have opportunities to take those brands off of YouTube, it's very problematic when people attach unfounded accusations to those women's brands. But then a year or two later, because niggas personally fucked you over, all of a sudden you're taking on the same talking points. And the women in these spaces, particularly those who have been here for a minute, have the right to call that shit out and have the right to say, okay, sis, we get what you're saying and we understand where you're coming from, but where the fuck were you when we were saying the same things? Where were you? See, people keep making this shit about, oh, well, you know, people can go where they want to go. Of course, this is social media. You go where you want to go. You support who you want to support. But where the fuck were you when the women in these spaces were saying, well, wait a minute. And I don't understand why so many of us as black women have to personally experience things before we trust other black women enough to understand what they're saying. I don't understand why the default setting is to trust black men when they have proven that they are disloyal. Black men can get on this platform and say whatever they want about black women in general or about specific black women, and it is laughed off and it's no problem. But if another black woman comes along and says, well, wait a minute, sis, be careful, this nigga can't be trusted and this, that, and the third, it's the problem. It's the problem. You personally have to be mistreated. You personally have to be disrespected on your platforms by black men to get the point. You personally have to be disrespected by black men in your personal life to get the point. You personally have to go on platforms with these niggas who will have conversations with you and then throw you under the bus a few days later to get the point. Ladies, if you are hearing me, please understand something. Just because people will have a conversation with you doesn't mean that they like you. It doesn't mean that they trust you. And it doesn't mean that they value you. These niggas were on here for years saying that they could say and do whatever they want and they would get black women back at the table to have conversations. When will you understand that talk is cheap? Until we see differences in these marital rates and these out of wedlock birth rates, until we see that black women are being respected enough and are requiring that respect, of course, enough to understand that, okay, if you've been with a man for a certain period of time and he values you, he'll marry you and he'll provide a legacy for you and the children that you have with him. There is no conversation. Do you understand? Like, these men are probably getting donations to talk to some of you. And you'll be in those conversations and let these niggas cuss you out and talk to you any type of way. And you'll allow that. But any criticism from another Black woman is a problem until you get fed up with being browbeaten and mistreated. And then you start saying the same things that women in these spaces have been saying for years. And when those women call it out, it's a problem. It's an issue. A Black woman has a disagreement with you when she's dragged and this, that, and the third. But your default setting with Black men is, oh, they have a disagreement, we have to talk it out, and this, that, and the third. Black women, celebrate your freedom. And understand that you don't have to take disrespect from anyone, whether it's coming from another woman or a man, regardless of skin color. But if you are a divested Black woman, you're taking a different path, understand that most of the disrespect that you will experience will not always be from other people. Some of the disrespect that you will experience will be from other Black women. Because as Black women, we don't trust each other. Because if we trusted each other, then when other Black women, particularly those who have existed in certain spaces for much longer than any of us have been here, when those Black women say, well, be careful about this and this, we would listen and we would learn from their experiences. Oh, it's a lot of y'all in the chat. Okay. Mods are doing your thing. I appreciate all of you. Yep. You're right, Tap. The fence sitting is disgusting. Period. Because we're at a particular point where that holds other Black women back. Anything that holds other Black women back, particularly those who are younger and who are relying on us for information, is a problem. And I say all of this because if you're familiar with me or this channel or my other channel, you know that I have said that there is a Black woman in my life who is very, very close to me, who is in an interracial relationship. And she's at the point now where she's planning her wedding. Okay? And I got a card in the mail today. And baby girl has asked me to be her maid of honor. And I will not share the content of the note, but she trusts me to be in that position because I was always honest with her. You know, I was always honest with her. I always told her the truth. I always told her, like, you can find love. And if you're a good woman and you live in certain areas of the country, yes, you can find love. And depending on where you live, you got like an 85% chance of getting married. But where you actually live, the chances are lower given the ratio of Black women to Black men. But your chances increase if you expand your options. Okay? And she has been in a relationship with a man where they are two wonderful, beautiful people, both inside and out. They love each other dearly. She's a young black woman. He is a man who is not black. And he has a lot of things going for himself. And guess what? He put a ring on it to the hateful bitches and the hateful niggas in the back. Okay? So 2020, foolish and all that shit. Yeah. We got some things going on. And guess what? The messages in these spaces have also inspired other women that I know, other black women, and they're married. Some of them are with men who are not black. Some of them are with men who are black. Because when you respect yourself as a woman, you attract quality men. That's just what it is. And so for all of these people, where it's like all of a sudden it's cool to say the things that black women who are in BWE and divested spaces have been saying for years, it's like okay, it's cool. But why is it that the default setting for black women is to trust black men ahead of black women? Why? And why is it that having these conversations and calling it out is problematic to people? It's problematic to people. It'll get you ostracized in certain spaces. Ostracized in certain spaces until people see the shit for themselves. And it's like, okay, cool. It's good that you're seeing it. I'm sorry that different women have gone through it. Because I've seen black women all over YouTube go through it. You understand? There are black women with hair channels. Like, they don't even talk about these type of issues or anything relating to politics. They just upload videos doing hair tutorials, and they deal with this. And it's like, well, okay. But there's a conversation to be had about that. Like, because do you understand? Other groups of people, when they hear about black women, because their default setting is to trust each other, they automatically believe what they hear. But as black women, we don't trust each other. Even those of us who are in these spaces who want to support black women, we don't trust each other. So our default setting is to listen to negative things that people say about black women. Sometimes as black women, we can only be cool with other black women who support us without question, who support us without expressing concern. Do you understand that since social media has existed, the black women in these spaces have said the things that have been said because our default setting is to care about other black women and to care about black girls. And so when we say some of the things that we say, it's not out of malice, it's not out of negative intention. It's because we see ourselves in you. See, a lot of black women don't see themselves in other black women and girls. Even if they get the idea that black women and girls need advocacy, they still don't see themselves in other black women and girls. So when we say be careful, it's not out of trying to control you. It's because we see ourselves in you stubborn ass bitches. So we end up trying to warn people who don't receive it. We've been through certain situations, right? And we have felt the pain of it, and we don't want to see other Black women go through that. We have heard these men say, oh yeah, they make money off of having these gladiator style fights with Black women. And we say, hey, don't let these guys use you. And instead of your default setting being, well, let me kind of think about what they're saying, let me observe the content, your default setting is to throw another Black woman under the bus until you get fucked over. And then you get fucked over and you start sounding a whole lot like the women who have been in these spaces for years. For years. And so it creates an environment where anyone who is a new content creator in this space is not going to be supported openly because they have been fucked over time and time and time and time and time and time again. So if you're a new Black woman on YouTube, right, and you want to affect change, you think that you're going to be the new one, understand this is something that we have seen played out over and over and over and over and over again. And maybe your immediate response should not be to ignore the things that other Black women are saying, but maybe you should kind of look around and do some research before you throw other Black women under the bus, only to realize that, oh, these guys will fuck you over. And like I said, this is not just a conversation for divested Black women. It's a conversation for Black women in general on social media. Stop laughing at niggas when they make fun. When they make fun of the fact that they make money off of Black female fuckery. Stop laughing at these niggas. Because it's funny as long as it's other Black women until you realize they're also talking about you. You're not different. You're not an exception. They throw you in the same bucket as they throw the rest of us. Some of the conversations that Black women have had on YouTube have been to warn some of you. Instead of heeding the warning, it's, well, let me go in on this other Black woman or let me ignore her. But then when I experience it, oh, it's so painful and it's so hurtful. It's like, okay, no one wanted to see any of you go through that. But that's why they were warning you. You know, I've observed different spaces, and I've seen Black women literally say, oh, I don't agree with this Black woman, or I don't like her. I've seen some of you be downright hateful to Black women where you say you've never watched their videos. If they have courses, you've never taken their courses, but you've been willing to throw them under the bus. And when other black women call that out, it's a problem. It's an issue. When are you going to understand that sometimes they invite y'all to have these conversations to make you living examples of the shit that they talk about? Now, if it's entertainment value to different people, that's cool. But don't let people use you for entertainment unless you're benefiting from it. So if they make a certain amount of money through Patreon, YouTube, or whatever, are you getting a cut of that money? If not, it's not worth your time. If you are, it's worth your time, but that's a whole nother conversation. But if these people are using you for content and for views, and you're not making money off of it, because this is the thing. Like, I want to tell y'all something. There are other sectors of YouTube that I've paid attention to, and it's late at night, y'all. Sorry if I'm not paying attention to the chat. Hey, Lolo. Hey, One-Sided. Hey, Carnisha, Tazzy, Tap, Mika. Mika called me out in Love M's chat because she was like, you were supposed to give us a live stream earlier. Yes, baby doll. I understand. Hey, Nana, I said the cat. Delphia, hey, baby doll. Carnisha. Okay, good. Y'all are, I see y'all blocking people and timing them out if they're derailing the conversation. Thank you, Wrench Gang. I appreciate all of you. Hey, Nyla. Hold on. Good. I wanted to make you a mod before. Chazzy, hey, baby doll. Hey, Elizabeth, all of you. Thank you for being here. Y'all know how I do sometimes. I'm on my late night shit. I don't have to work till Monday, so we talking. Now, before I go any further, please like the video, because it's 3 hating ass people with ashy ankles who hit the dislike. So please like. Please like. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please subscribe to you, girl, okay? But listen, what I was saying is I don't understand why the default setting for a lot of black women is to automatically trust these evil, hateful ass men over black women. I don't get it. Like, they're openly saying they don't like black women. They're using you for content. They don't like arguing back and forth with black women, but it makes money for them. You hear that and you continue to support them. But then one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm in my feelings because I finally realized I'm being used. But in the meantime, you have allowed these men to use you to attack other black women. And when those black women point it out, then all of a sudden you call it bullying. It's a problem. It's like, no. We have to address that. And we got to talk about it so that future generations of black women on YouTube or other forms of social media think about it. Like, when you hear certain content and your automatic reaction is to support the men, you got to stop and think, well, why is this my reaction? Do I have a problem with this woman's views? Or am I so male identified that my default setting is to support black men? Even when those men are saying things that are detrimental to the entire collective of black women. Because I'm sure y'all know this, but I have to say this just to be clear. When we exist in this world, we don't have special numbers or patches to say, oh, well, wait a minute, I'm divested and this other black woman is pro-black. A lot of the things that you pro-Black women are accepting is fucking up the way that all of us are viewed. You're fucking up the image for all of us. Right? And when you're on these men's platforms and they're saying certain things about Black women and they're getting donations and they're getting the views, if you're not getting a cut, then they're using you. They're using you to support the opinions of their Black male audiences. Some of us have been saying this for months. Lolo's in the chat. I saw my baby girl in here. Lolo's been saying it. Lovin was saying it. There were others saying it as well. A lot of the ladies in my chat have been saying it as well for months. We were saying they're using certain Black women for views and content. If you're not getting a cut and they're openly saying this is entertainment, this pays their bills, and you're on their panels, and you only get offended when they personally offend you, and then you start taking on certain talking points, it's like, okay, I get it. You know, sometimes we have to personally see things to understand the impact. But on the flip side, I have to say to myself, it had to personally affect you for you to understand what the fuck was going on. It had to personally be a problem for you as an individual Black woman to be offended. Listen, y'all better go to CK's channel and listen to her video about how Black men protect their image. A lot of you, and when I say a lot of you, I'm not talking to divested Black women, because Delphia said fuck the Delphia said fuck the ashy ankle niggas. Yes. I just looked at the chat and saw that. Fuck them and their ashy ankles. Okay? But listen, a lot of these women had to be personally offended because as Black women, unfortunately, we don't see ourselves as a collective. Like Black men, like a Black man can be a dude who has a preference for Black women, right? But he views himself as a collective with other Black men. So whether that Black man is going home by himself, whether that Black man is gay, whether that Black man was an Asian woman, a white woman, whatever, a Black woman, whatever, they see themselves as a unit. Black women who claim to be heterosexual will hate other Black women based on who that Black woman goes home to every night or based on that Black woman's dating preferences. It is the most retarded shit that I've seen in my life. But then a lot of these Black women, once they feel like, oh, I've supported these guys and they fucked me over, then they get what we're saying. And all I'm saying is, because listen, I'm not trying to rub salt in the wounds of Black women who feel hurt. I'm not trying to do that. But what I'm saying to other Black women observing these situations, understand what we mean when we say Black male identified. A lot of you side with Black men to the detriment of other Black women. Until you go through it yourselves, or until you see a Black woman that you like go through it. Okay? And so on Independence Day, as Black women celebrating our freedom, okay? You celebrate your freedom as an individual Black woman. And then understand, if you want to see change for certain things that go on with Black women and girls, now divested Black women, we get it. But if you want to see change with other things that happen with Black women and girls, understand, a lot of you bitches look weird as fuck running interference for Black men. And when I say that, you look weird because you are a heterosexual Black woman, but you'll hate another Black woman based on who she goes home to at night. Y'all look weird as fuck. Y'all will say your plight is not the same as other Black women based on who she goes home to at night. Y'all are like, that's weird. That's some weirdo shit. But I understand that channels like mine, we call it out, because this is like the Tea Party or the Green Party, we sound weird. We sound like we're on the fringes. But really, channels like this are here to let you know, y'all look weird as hell because you're heterosexual Black women and you have preferences for Black men. I understand that. You know, I get it. Because my personal preference is either non-Black men or lighter skinned Black men. Okay? So I get it. But I would never hate another Black woman or like drag another Black woman for men. Period. And I've never hated another Black woman because of her relationship. So that's why I was a bridesmaid in a wedding for my good sis. We're not like sisters in real life, but like we may as well be sisters because we've known each other for so long. So I was a bridesmaid for my good sis, and she happens to be married to a Black man. And then I'm going to be maid of honor for my real life baby sister who is marrying a white man, right? Because it's like, okay, I want to see Black women win regardless. Like, so if you have standards, you're going to get a good man. You're going to get a good man, right? So I'm not going to hate another woman because of who she goes home to at night. But then I see a lot of these women running interference for Black men and like, oh no, you can't be with a man unless he looks like this or unless he's this race. And then you don't understand what the women in these spaces are saying until you personally get fucked over. You personally understand that niggas will have conversations with you and still not give a fuck about you. What's in the chat? Oh, it's a lot of you said, I know sis, but if I have a baby, he could You're right, Tazzy. That was a mammy mule. Yes, it's always an excuse. When Pookie and Ray Ray cuss them out. You said, but we gonna have a Black man one day. It depends, Angel. Every Black listen. See, this is the niggeration, okay? This is what people fail to understand. Every Black woman is not attracted to Black men. And there are some Black women who are attracted to Black men who are also attracted to all races of men. Every Black woman's attraction is not determined by race. earth-shattering. Right? I'm one of those women. Like, I'm attracted to a man's height. So I like tall men. I like a certain build on men. I like certain finances on men, okay? But color has never been a thing for me. But then I know some black women are the opposite. Right? Thank y'all for doing y'all things in the chat, because I can't. Right now, I'm not in a mood to deal with certain people. I've modded a lot of you all. I think everyone who wait, let me make sure. Tazzy, can you leave me a comment? I want to make sure you're a mod. That's true, Meta. You like all races of men. If he looks good, he looks good. That's all I'm saying, you all. Like, this is Independence Day for the country, right? And I do feel like we should, okay, there you go, baby. We should celebrate the 4th of July for all of the reasons that other people are celebrating it. But we should understand also that as divested Black women, a lot of the things that we have said hold true. And Black women in general, celebrate your freedom. You don't have to feel like you owe anything to anyone other than yourself as an individual. And then, of course, the people you are immediately responsible for. So if you're married or you're in a relationship, or of course, if you have children, right, you're responsible for them. And then your familial responsibilities. But outside of that, you are not responsible for a collective of people, okay? Enjoy your freedom, celebrate it. And when you observe certain things on social media, celebrate the fact that there are things that we have said in these spaces that are coming to fruition. And Black women, even Black women who don't identify as divested, are understanding what we're saying. They're understanding that you can't be nice to niggas. They're understanding that no matter how nice you are to them, ultimately it won't matter. And hopefully we can get to this point where, as new Black women come onto social media, they won't have to learn the hard way. Okay? Yes, Carnisha, enjoy your freedom from Blackistan. All right? Anyway, you all, enjoy your 4th of July. I know this is an awkward time of the day, so I'm going to get off of here. Let us all enjoy the day. I may go live a little bit later. It just depends. Got a lot of stuff going on the actual 4th. But if I don't go live later on today on the 4th, then I will be live on Friday the 5th. I will talk to you all very soon. Enjoy your day. Be safe and have a good time. All right? Bye.